Are women finally waking up and realizing that the whole feminist crap doesn't make a lot of sense? Because the receipts are in. Those so-called successful women who've gone to college, who've gotten the great jobs, who's now boss bees, they're no longer happy. They're now waking up and realizing there was one crucial mistake. You cannot ignore relationships. You guys remember this woman?
How women need to position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build, when some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if he owns the bus? If he owns it. If he owns the bus.
That's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem.
Okay.
Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that.
Only if he owned the bus. Remember her? You know the drill. Come on, give me a thumbs up. Convince this YouTube algorithm that you're going to be getting some good knowledge right here, right now. So like the video coming in, please. And listen, of course, if you want to ask me any quick questions, listen, guys, you can easily get me on Instagram. Send me a quick voice message, and I promise you I will get right back to you in a voice message right there, literally in the same day, if not the same hour, on Instagram. Okay? So ask an older man on Instagram to get me there. But if you need some long counseling, if you need some mentoring, if you just need to get some stuff off your chest, it's going to take a while. Hey guys, listen, time is money. So I charge a little fee, but it's so inexpensive, I can assure you, you can afford it. It's almost like sitting down, both of us in a coffee shop, and you buy me the coffee. That's it. You can talk to me for half an hour or an hour. All right, so askanolderman.com, book a session. Okay, with that said, let's get into this lady. Ebony K Williams. I remember this went viral. Remember guys, hypergamy is women's natural proclivity to want to have a man who is better than her, stronger than her, earns more money than her, everything more than her. Women like this who thinks that they have now reached the pinnacle because she now has a lot of money. She needs to find a man who's better than her. So she's basically saying she can't find any men better than her. She's pretty much BSing when she says, oh, women are out earning men. That statistic is BS. Men are still out earning women. And here's the shitty part. There are still a tremendous amount of men who are going to college. The difference between males and females going to college is only like a 6 or 7% difference between males and females in colleges. These women like to freaking throw these figure outs like there's no men going to college. Yeah, men are still going to college. But here's the shitty part about this statistic. More women are going to college, but men are still out earning them. And I'm going to expand on that reason a little bit further on because I want to get into the main video that has now brought her back into the spotlight.
But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date a bus driver. But we think it's another human being's.
I can bet my left nut that that if she was in her 20s and 30s, if she was 30 years younger, in her 20s and 30s, You would never hear this woman say, oh, I would date the bus driver. She is past her prime. Not even close. She's past that so long ago. It is so far in the rearview mirror right now. It's just a pin drop. Okay? Now she will compromise on anything. All right? If you saw previous videos with her back in the day, she was just as feminist as this other one. Just as loud, just as proud as any other woman that would still have her beauty. Now she's old. She would tell you anything right now. So guys, stay focused. Stay focused. Now she's talking common sense because she's now reached the point where she no longer has any leverage whatsoever with any man. That is the only reason this woman is saying that right now, just so you understand. But now she's older, she's spitting some facts because she's wiser, and she has now seen the outcome of where her life has ended up. That's one beautiful thing about age. You have seen this game played, and you're now watching the young generation play the same game, and you can see the outcome from it. I'm an old guy. I have seen these games played. I've seen this game already. That's why I can teach you guys how to avoid mistakes. Let's finish up on this one.
But we think that it's another human being's responsibility to give us what we need instead of us building together. I can build with a bus driver. I'd have my little stash over on the side in my prenup, but I could build with a bus driver. So I think some of the criteria that we look for in the reality of today keeps us unhappy, keeps us angry, keeps us imbalance. And then when the men show up, we want to beat them up because they're not living up to our standards and criteria. And it's not working, beloved.
It's not working, beloved. It's just not working. So this video came out around 6 months ago or so, right? And I just want to set you up with this video because one of my daughters have just started her A-levels. That's the British system of... So for the Americans, you got to understand, she's 17, so now she's pretty much moving into, I guess, what do you guys call it? I think it's called junior college. I think that's what you call it in America. So we've switched schools. And I tell her, because she don't date, she's never dated anyone, nothing. She hasn't had a boyfriend. I said to her, this is the time you actually start looking at dating. The father is telling her, listen, you better start looking at dating at 17. Now, and nothing of what I said is about sex. Dating, in other words, interacting with other boys, because she hasn't done that yet. There was no prom with boys. Over here in Dubai, it's a different game. And it's not like I wanted it, by the way. I would have loved to have seen her had a boy ask her out for the prom. And I can tell you, my girls are gorgeous. I would tell you if they were average, but they're definitely above average. Tall, slim, beautiful girls, okay? Now, she said, okay, daddy, no problem. She just agreed. She said, yeah, okay. And I told my daughters, I said, listen, I said for the next 4 years, that is gonna be the only time period where you will see the maximum amount of men who are eligible for marriage in your age group ever in your life. And she said, okay, daddy, I understand. So let's hear now what this woman is saying, which is counter to what she was pushing in the past. Because she's one of these that has been pushing the whole feminist message. Go to college, girls. Forget these men. Go to college, get your education, become the boss bee. That was the message from feminism for decades. Now these women are successful, they have money, but they're unhappy. This is the problem. So now here's the new message from her. And I'm starting to hear it from a lot of the older ones, because now these women have hit their 40s and reality has set in. Let's take a listen.
Reality that needs to be said out loud is that as black men age, their desirability increases. Thus, their optionality of women is always expanding.
Now, she's perfectly correct on that. Men increase in their value to women. A woman don't understand her value to a man. This is the difference between what she's saying. What she's not saying directly is her degree means hell all to a man. And the things that are important to a man, which is her youth and fertility, those are two very important things to a man. Those decrease as she gets older. Remember, ladies, women are born with their value. Men have to create their value. Men have no value in their youth because they haven't built resources. Resources are attractive to women. And if a man has no resources, he has no value to the woman. If a woman don't have youth and fertility, beauty, she has no value to a man. Unfortunately, she loses that as she gets older. We know that if a woman has money, it's not our money. It's her money. When a woman makes money, she makes it so that she don't need a man. When a man makes money, he's trying to create a family. I've said this so many times in my video, but I have to repeat it here because, ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand how both sexes think.
And the exact opposite is true for black women. As we age, doesn't matter how much money we accumulate, our degrees or professional accolades, the reality is that our marriage and partnership market value is depreciating with every passing year. No matter how good we look, no matter how fit we are, men are still seeing primarily our presumed dwindling fertility as a knock against us. And speaking of fertility, that is another reason that I want younger black women to seek marriage and partnership in college or right after, if that's what they choose. Because the number of college-educated black men is so low when...
She's still trying to peddle this line, if they so choose. We all know that the majority of happiness for both males and females, but more among females, is family. Once she hits her 50s and 60s, and there are no kids or grandkids coming around to see her, and most of her friends have died off or involved with their other relationships, shit gets lonely very quickly. The reality of loneliness sinks in. Those dogs and cats, that's her only companion. And at 50s and 60s and up, if you still have a sex drive, there's not a lot of young boys looking to hit those ages. Those ages, yeah, things are not as tight as they used to be. If he has all the options, he'll go for the 40s. But once you start getting in the 50s and 60s, you're looking at geriatric panani. Hate to say it like that, but it's the facts. You know I keep it real on this channel. That's some geriatric stuff that you're carrying around now. Older men will hit it, but still have to be nice, feminine, but it still have to be nice. The woman still have to be nice, friendly, and feminine. Okay? Let's finish up hearing what she has to say.
Compared to black college-educated women, that we're all going to be targeting the same small pool of men. And as we heard today, on most campuses, there's like 7 black women students for every 1 black man student. Y'all do the math. So here's my advice. You are
I saw a comment early on this. It said women are going to start playing Hunger Games to try to get a man on campus. I thought that was hilarious.
If you are a young black woman in college, and you know in your heart and in your head that you want to prioritize family, I suggest that you simultaneously pursue that MRS degree right along with that BA or JD. Because the handful of black college-age men that actually do desire to get married soon, and they do share that value system, and family is a priority for them too, y'all, that is an incredibly small pool, and it's shrinking as you get older. And by the time you reach my age, 40, you will be faced with different choices relating to life partnership and motherhood. Now, I'm not saying that delaying marriage or motherhood is a bad option.
See, there she goes again. She minimizes the message because she's trying to make sure she don't piss off the sisterhood too much. She knows that she's not happy in her 40s. She knows this. Why is she trying to calm it down? Tell people the truth. Tell these ladies the truth. She can't find a man. She's beautiful. She's a millionaire. She can't find a man. How many women are going to be in her position with her beauty, her sex appeal, with her degree of fame? Because I think she's an actress as well. TV presenter. She speaks well, highly educated, and she got money. And she's a lawyer. How many women can pull that shit off with a philosophy degree or marketing degree? Something you can buy online for $9.95. But yet they go to college and pull that degree and rack up a $70,000 student loan. Blows my mind. Americans, you guys have no clue. Most countries outside the world don't have to pay those crazy fees. But that's a whole other story. Your debt, that's a whole other story.
But it's one that comes with its own consequences. And our women deserve to know on the front end of their decision making instead of on the back half.
Yeah. So ladies, Mr. Kevin Samuels, whether you guys like him or not, listen to the message he was telling you, ladies.
How many times do I get women on my show that they're working, they like what they do, their career is somewhat fulfilling, but as soon as they get married and I ask, do you want to have to work to pay significant bills after you're pregnant with the first child? Almost 100% of women say no. Understand something. What the men are saying at this point is, then why the hell are you going to college, to these expensive schools, racking up all this student loan debt to do a job or a career that you want to quit when you get married and get pregnant? To men, we are looking at you, and you know how many men I know who have turned women down because they are economically unattractive. Ladies, hear me and hear me well.
But here's one thing that I've observed about American culture. Not bashing you guys, that's not my thing. But I have to point out one thing. And I've seen this in your politics, I've seen this in your dating life, and I want to make this very clear. It is possible to walk and chew gum at the same time. For some reason, women fell for this idea that they couldn't go to college and get an education while simultaneously getting a man. Oh, I need to focus on my education. What the hell does that mean? All right, you're studying, fine. You can't have a boyfriend, but you can have multiple hookups whenever you need to have sex. So you go through what? 10, 15 guys during college, but you can't have a steady boyfriend. You can't have a relationship. Tell me how the hell that makes sense. There's one thing about a relationship, and I'm talking about any relationship worth having, is that the person that's with you is an asset. It brings you peace. I'm not talking about getting involved with some guy that's going to give you trouble, because who wants that from a relationship? I'm talking about finding a man in college who's just as serious about his education as you are. Both of you come together, you go on dates together, you develop a relationship. It's a process. You can see if this person is serious about life right there, right then. This is the chance that you're going to get to see this man in all of his glory. You're going to see him when he's going through a hard time studying. You're going to see him struggling with his education. You're going to see his ups and downs. You get to vet that man at his worst and at his best in college. It's the perfect place. So all I'm saying is, learn to walk and chew gum, ladies. Go to college, find your man, get your education, come out, build with that man, and have a great life. Simple. It's not rocket science. Stop falling for this stupid narrative that you got to focus on your education. It doesn't make sense. Think about it logically. I'm trying to say to you, listen to what she's warning you of, and you better find a man that you can come up with in college. There's been various videos going around of white women showing off their wedding bands in college, showing that they're engaged or married while they're in college.
Your master's degree.
Impressive.
I got my MRS degree.
I've never heard of that. MRS?
Yeah, like a Mrs. You know, like when you want to be a housewife.
Oh, that went right over my head.
We should start seeing more of those videos for Black American women. Our sisters should be doing the same thing. building with a man, not waiting at the finishing line, trying to find Mr. First, Second, and Third, because there's only 3 of them. But if it's 10,000 of you waiting for the first, second, and third of those high value men, 97% of you aren't going to get him. So ladies, this video was for you. So I'm so happy that I'm now moved from 6% females following me to 22%. Ladies, thank you. I'm glad you're listening to me a lot more. I'm so glad that the ladies are realizing that, hey, you know what? He's not that bad. I'm not, aren't I? No, I'm not. I'm just trying to help you. I'm trying to help everybody, man. I want success in our communities. That's it. So, ladies, go to college. God's sake, get into a degree that pays you well. That's why men are making money. Get into one of the STEMs. You do realize that you don't have to go to college to get a master's degree, right? You can do that shit online and pay a fraction of the cost. Start putting out some work online, building a portfolio digitally first, so that you can show other clients that, hey, this is what I do. And then when you go in to get a job at a marketing firm, you can say, hey, these are my references from this, and this client, and this is what I did for them. You don't need a bloody degree for that. Unless it's STEM, science, technology, engineering, or math. Do not go to college to get some bullshit degree and rack up a student loan. Unless you go in there to find a husband. I hope you guys understand me. Okay, listen, guys, I'm gonna cut this off short. Let me know your thoughts. I'm hoping I can help the ladies today. And gentlemen, please share this with your lady friends so that they can understand the problems and the solutions. Every single video I do now, I'm gonna really push on providing solutions. So I hope you see the solution in this one. And so guys, I'll see you in the next video. And remember, whenever in doubt, always ask an older man. All right, cheers.